This is A Silent War Within, the podcast dedicated to confronting the unseen mental health battles carried by our first responder and healthcare heroes. This show is about real stories, real struggles, and real ways to survive the storm and come out stronger on the other side. For too long, stigma has kept you silent. But this is your space to bravely break that silence, share vital insights, and build a community where your well-being truly comes first, because your service deserves unwavering support.
In 2017, I ran a call that changed everything. It was a pediatric drowning, a small child whose resuscitation efforts turned into my own living nightmare. As I fought for the kid's life, the lines blurred. I smelled the chlorine of the pool. I looked at his face, and all I could see were my own children, and that child didn't make it. But the memory didn't leave either. I formed an unhealthy attachment to the family. Carrying a ghost I had no idea how to process. And for 4 years, I stomped it down. I pretended I was fine until 2021, when the containment field completely shattered and 4 years of buried wreckage exploded out of me as pure, unadulterated rage. In the aftermath of that meltdown, I started the long, brutal road through therapy. I felt completely isolated. I felt like I was on an island, and I was convinced that nobody could understand the dark, twisted places my mind was going, or the shame I was carrying of losing control. The isolation that I felt then is exactly why A Silent War Within was born. I started this platform out of a singular, non-negotiable mission to ensure that no other first responder or healthcare worker would ever have to sit in the dark and feel that level of solitude ever again. What started as my own search for survival turned into a lifeline. But I didn't have to carry the weight alone for very long. Angel stepped up to take the wheel on our social front lines, turning our message into a haven for thousands of struggling operators. MaKayla brought her steady, passionate voice straight from the bedside, balancing clinical truth with raw grace. And Jason joined the table, bringing the street-tested wisdom of a veteran leader who knows exactly what it takes to rebuild when the adrenaline stops and the sirens fade. Today, for our 1-year anniversary, the entire crew is sitting around together, and we are looking back at where this journey started, opening up about the behind-the-scenes struggle that almost broke us, and showing you where this movement is going next. Clear your mind, pull up a chair, and welcome to the 1-year anniversary special of A Silent War Within. Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Howdy.
Are we spilling the tea on this episode? I didn't know it was a tell-all episode.
I always have tea to spill. What are you talking about?
Okay, I'm excited now. I must have not read through the questionnaire.
I always have tea. So I'm super excited that you guys are all here today with us, but more so, I'm excited to sit around with the Silent War Within family. Like this is extremely awesome. I think we've all told the story about 9,000 times on the show of how this idea of the show got started and kind of where it took off. But when all of you guys come on, I want to hear from you. And where'd your expectations lie when you signed on for this with me? Where did the expectations lie? And how'd you get rid of the nerves on the very first show you did? For Angel, that was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think she should too. That was like 2 weeks ago for her.
But a little bit, my expectations really was like, oh, Kevin's got a wild hair again.
Yeah,
so let's do it. Like it won't last long, and then it'll be fine. So if I'm stressed out, it'll be fine initially. And then I got my feet sunk in, and I was like, people are real receptive to this. Like they're listening. People started reaching out and was like, so what's Kevin doing? And I was like, hold on, let me tell you all about it. So once I realized that people were listening, then I was invested. I was in it to win it. Not just for a minute, neither. I love that.
She's a poet and didn't know it. I mean,
right? Gang. That come out of nowhere.
That is the
Jason, what
mother
about
of a
you?
teenager there. So
Wow, I thought I was going to go last.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know that I had an expectation coming in. I tell you, I was not expecting to so quickly just be adopted into the full time team. Like I was like when Kevin sent me the group text and was like, "Hey man, you're a permanent fixture now." I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's not. I don't have time. Like that's not what I signed up for. I was just stepping in to help a brother out, like get some experience behind the scenes running a podcast because I have a podcast of my own that I want to launch someday within the Notes from Dad community, and I was just looking for some real world experience of co-hosting a podcast, kind of behind the scenes of what that looks like. And when Kevin sent the group text and said, "Hey, Jason's a permanent fixture now," I was like, wait a minute, crap, that's not what this is supposed to be. And yet I have found that it's been a blessing because the more conversations I have with people through this platform, one, it's healing for me to continue to have these conversations, and two, it's honestly just really cool just to be a part of a movement. I've been passionate about mental health for so long that it's just cool to finally be really on the front lines, making a difference and making an impact. So
very nice. MaKayla?
My turn. Honestly, was really scared when you asked me would I become a full-time member of the team. I think I was scared because I have a big mouth and it gets me in trouble a lot.
Yes.
But I mean, you're the boss. So, I mean, what can
I'm
I do?
nobody.
Get fired? You know?
I'm nobody's
Well,
boss.
we're going to cut your pay.
yeah, I'll cut my pay. But
What pay?
Exactly.
You get paid?
man, we're getting paid.
Yeah.
No, but I do. I have a big mouth and I'm very passionate about healthcare, all things healthcare. I think that, there's a lot of things in healthcare that get pushed to the back burner because it doesn't make money. And mental health with first responders doesn't make money because when you're out of work for any reason, they're not making money off of you. So I'm very passionate about those things and putting yourself and your health first. And so when you asked me to do this, I was like, I'm going to say something and my job's going to fire me, But I think the more that you dive in and you realize that there are people out there that really need to hear what you have to say, and this work does matter. The longer I started doing the podcast, it was like it came so natural because you know that every single thing that's coming out of your mouth, someone somewhere needs to hear. And that's really important to me.
Mhm.
It's so funny that MaKayla describes her saying yes as a scary event, because this is the same girl that I said, "Hey, I really want you to be a guest on my show." And somehow she turned it and interviewed me for about 30 minutes of it. So to describe herself as scared seems a little silly to me.
That's probably indicative of our careers. I mean, when you think about it, how many of us are scared? Ain't scared. How many of us are scared? How many of us are scared internally, but externally we exude just a confidence because we're just so used to it, right? Like, hey man, I'm scared, and at the same time, I know we just gotta roll forward and move on. So that's a battle hardened operator right there.
I'm scared too. Stop screaming.
Yes. Do you
Yeah.
know what me and Kevin had to get over with the whole first still. And I noticed all of us just did it. We're all doing this. Kevin texted me one time and was like, "Quit nodding," because I'm like this the whole time.
If you watch MaKayla every episode, she's just this. But I think that you guys' answers are very interesting. And the reason that they're interesting because so when I started this podcast a year ago, I had no idea what I was doing. First of all, I had to do research to figure out what to do every step of the way. You guys know I had a different co-host, Kim, whose life got so busy that she just had to step away. It was her children's senior year, so she wanted to be part of that. So she finally completely stepped away, but she was a huge catalyst in kind of how this thing kicked off because I was on a podcast for our hospital that we both work at, talking about what our critical care transport team does. And she's the one that said, you should do a podcast. And I was like, I don't know what I do a podcast about. She said, dude, you're so passionate about mental health within our organization. Why would you not just talk about that? I was like, yeah. But I think because I didn't know what podcasting was and I didn't know what to expect, I tend to have pretty lofty visions. And I thought all of a sudden that I was Sean Ryan or Joe Rogan and that we were going to be famous overnight. It never was about that, but I wanted that level of streams and numbers. And what I've learned over the past year is like most podcasts have 2 to 3 years worth of growth before they're, kind of reach those levels that you hope for. So it was definitely a learning process. And then, and I think we'll talk about it a little bit, so I won't get into it too much. There is also a heavy weight that goes along with doing this, that it is extra things added to your plate. What's some standout moments for you guys? What are some things that you guys remember? Obviously, Jason's been with us for 8 or 9 episodes now. Angel, you've been along for the ride for a lot longer, but you've been doing the social media part of it. MaKayla's been with me since pretty early on. I mean, MaKayla came in, I think, October or November of last year. So she was pretty early on in her episodes. I think are actually like episode 11 and 12 or something like that, because she talked long enough to do a 2-parter.
Did she talk long enough, or did she interview you and you talk long enough?
Both.
A lot of our guests say the exact same thing. I think a lot of our guests say that every guest we have says you are not alone. Every guest. And I feel like my favorite episode is Alex Jobbers, just because I learned so when you don't know something and when someone's telling you this information, it completely shifts the way that you originally had thought about something. Because in my mind, the only road towards mental health was therapy and medication. And when I say therapy, I'm talking about talk therapy. And medication, obviously, I'm a nurse, I knew about that. And then the other extreme was the behavioral health psych ward stuff, right? So that was my only direction as far as mental health. And in Alex Jobber's episode, we talked about, MDR therapy and the rapid eye movement therapy. And we talked about ketamine. And I had no clue any of that existed. And it really just opened up my mind to what people do for their own mental health.
That's also part of every show MaKayla does with us is her dog barking.
She sees a squirrel and she'll start barking. But her episode was really influential to me and really shifted my thoughts about mental health, because it is not a linear healing space. There's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts and backward motion to get to that ultimate goal of just being mentally healthy and stable. So I think that was that one for me.
Angel, what's your favorite moment?
My absolute favorite was Nurse Gwenny when you interviewed her. And I just randomly was caught up with everything and was at work on shift. And you said, "Oh, I just had the best interview ever." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Let me pull it up. I'm not doing anything else." So I pulled it up. And I'm telling you, I sat there at the desk at work and cried like a baby when she said, sometimes all you can do is the next right thing. And sometimes that's all we can do is just the next right thing. Like in the moment, that's something I've been there, that all I could do was just the next right thing.
I'm so glad that we don't use like paper guides. I mean, obviously they look like paper on a computer screen, but I'm so glad we don't use paper guides, because I'd have wadded it up and just been like, "Oh, it's the end of the show. You did it. You got it right." Because I threw out the script after she got into some of that. I was like, I don't even need this anymore, because we are having what we always strive for, is a true, genuine conversation.
Yeah.
And I loved her too. That's good. Jason, what about you? Sorry, go ahead. Who wants to say something?
I was just gonna say, for somebody that we see so often on social media, such a big name, so she's got such a wide reach, and she still has the same struggle of just doing the next right thing.
Yeah. Jason, what's your favorites?
Man, it's hard for me to narrow it down. I mean, I've only done, I don't know, half a dozen, 6, 7, 8 interviews so far.
Mhm.
and they've all been phenomenal. I really enjoyed the interview with Jennifer. I don't remember her last name. I apologize.
Weaver.
Thank you, Jennifer Weaver. Yeah, I really enjoyed the episode with Jennifer Weaver. Like I felt like that was a natural flow where we might have followed the script, but we just had some good back and forth banter that was a really genuine conversation as opposed to guiding a guest through the process. Man, JP was phenomenal. I've actually gone back and the passionate leader. I've gone back and started listening to all his episodes from episode 1, and I'm up into the 10s or 12 episode now, and he's just doing phenomenal work out there on the East Coast. So it's and in the community, and it's been great. Man, if I had to pick another one, Marlon Marachi. I don't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, dude, that was a fun one. Like that dude, he's just a natural. Like that was a good conversation, and that says
He's
a
so
lot coming
full
from.
of energy. He's just
And
in
that's
it all the time.
yeah, and that says a lot for a fireman to say that about a cop. So
Oh,
yeah, he was just full of energy, and he had a whole lot of truth nuggets in that one. Travis Ivy had a whole lot of truth nuggets in his. I've actually connected with him offline now too, because his drift system, I'm getting more into and learning more about his drift system. That he's just doing a phenomenal job as well. The one we just did the other day, it hasn't even aired yet. Mike
Worthen. Yeah,
Worthen.
as a preview for
was-
you guys, that one is going to be a really good episode.
Yeah, that was almost 2 hours. We went for almost 2 hours, and I don't even think I followed the script. It was just a natural, genuine conversation, and it's the first time. It's the first time I think since I've been a co-host on here that I started crying. Right, like that's he tugged at the heartstrings a little bit for me, so that was a really good, impactful one for me.
It's really hard for me from the, I guess, chair that I sit in to pick a favorite. But there's one episode that you guys have completely just skimmed over and nobody said it. I'm really surprised. My personal favorite has forever been, and then this is where when people say, where should I start on your podcast? You've got 60 something episodes now. Like, where should I start? My answer has always been the same. A Note from Dad. That's where you start, because that was my absolute favorite one. And the reason
it made me cry now. That's going to be the second time I cry.
Well, the reason it was my favorite was not because of necessarily the content. The content was great. I'm not saying anything bad about the content, but what you saw in that episode is two dads talking about dad stuff. And that's why it was my favorite, because Jason didn't realize what he was doing, but he was pouring into me as a father as we're going through a mental health podcast. And that was so special to me. And it made for such a good chemistry. When you watch it, there is a natural flow of conversation, a natural flow of chemistry throughout the whole thing. That's why when Jason reached out to me, it took me 30 seconds to turn around and go, hey, Angel, here's this guy. You got to go, he's a note from Dad. Go get him.
yes.
And so that's always been my favorite. But there's been tons, right? Like, man, Shade Tree Cardiology was very early on. That was one of my favorites. One of the very first ones we did was the very first episode we recorded was EMS Avenger. And he came on and we had no idea what we were doing. And the audio was just crap. The cameras were crap. We couldn't figure out how me and Kim could be in the same room on Riverside and broadcast. Like it was all bad. Everything about it was bad. And editing it, I'm like, I cannot put this out there to the world. This is not what I want. So I actually hit him back up and I was like, hey man, can we go for like round 2 and try this over again? And he was so like forgiving and just gracious and said, absolutely, I'll come back. No problem. You guys are just getting it together. You'll get it. So it was a lot in that episode that, it was a lot of educational nuggets. It wasn't as much mental health focused, but such a good episode because of just how it came through. And then, of course, a note from Dad and Nurse Gwenny. And there was something special about interviewing MaKayla as well, because she's my family. That was the first real, true, I'm going to do an action to support what you're doing from my family. Like everybody says, I support you, you're doing great, blah, blah, blah. But that was the first actionable item that anybody ever did to say, hey, I believe in you. And that went a long way. So there's a ton out. I mean, there's just a ton. And we keep getting, you think you somewhere in my head, I think at times I'm like, people are just, I'm going to get tired of this, I think someday. And the more people we have on, I just find myself just so enthralled and feeling like it's almost like therapy, every time you come in, and you feel very relieved about doing it. Sometimes getting the schedule worked out and having to actually sit down for an hour and carve out an hour a day to a busy guy is tough, and it seems stressful. But once you sit down in the chair and you start talking, you're like, oh, this is so good. Like I just needed this
I've noticed
release.
that with me too. Like I can't tell you how many times I'll sit down to start an episode and I'm like, man, I'm tired. I shouldn't have signed up to take this one. I got other stuff to do. I got the kids. I got the wife. I got the fill in the blank, right? And then we sit down and we get to going. And by the time it's over with, I'm just as exhausted and I'm refreshed and energized at the same time. I'm like, man, it was real cool. I'm glad I did that one.
I have a second favorite thing that happened, and I have to say it. I was kind of playing over. He's not going to see this probably, so it's fine. But I actually thought that firefighter Fenton's mustache was real. I just have to say that on camera. I was playing it off that like, I knew it was fake.
Of course you did.
I thought it was real. I did.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Really
you want to hear something funny?
I was like, I knew it was fake. I didn't.
Yeah, no, we have a guy in our department that thought for years, he's actually a battalion chief now, was like, oh, that's real. We're all like, yeah, no, they're real. That's funny. You're not the only one.
No, you're not the only one.
No mustache. He came on with no mustache, and I said, oh, this is not the guy I was thinking that it was. And then I looked him up while we're talking, and I was like, oh, it is the same guy. He doesn't even look like the same guy.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, we can continue. Just had to say that. I had to confess.
I hear you.
All right, so I got a question for you guys. I'll let you decide who goes first. It's a mental health podcast, right? So let's. I think it's a great opportunity for our fans, our viewers, our listeners to see some vulnerability. Vulnerability and authenticity, to me, are some of my top two values. And if we're gonna bring guests on and be vulnerable, let's get real with them for a minute. So what do you guys find is the most challenging thing when it comes to your own personal mental health? How have you overcome that? How are you navigating that? I'd like to think successfully, because I know the three of you pretty well at this point. How are you successfully navigating that, and what challenges maybe are you still facing, and what advice would you give to our viewers about mental health in general?
I will say that. Okay, go first. I love it.
Well, I was just going to say that, when we started this podcast, a lot of people that I did not really know that well from work would come up to me and want to talk about their mental health and the struggles they've been going through. And that was really scary for me because I'm not a counselor. And the only thing I could really say was, I'm going to point you to Jesus, or I'm going to point you to the podcast, because I'm kind of like that Grinch with the stick. There, I'm like, but I will say, yeah, like the broom, you're okay. But I will say that, I feel like when you're vulnerable with people, and we talked about this on one of our episodes we did, people are going to be vulnerable with you. And the more that you share and put out, and the more that you're willing to help, your coworkers see that as a life raft. And, it really kind of made me take the Band-Aid off of my own mental health doing this podcast. Because for so long, I'm a stuffer. I stuff down my emotions, I stuff down my feelings, I stuff down my anger until everything explodes. Which I'm a redhead, so that might be a redhead trait, not just a personal trait. But
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. And I'm a very good masker. So like if I'm talking to someone, I'm trying to mask what I think they want to see of me. not who I really am.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to put my best self forward and my most presentable self forward all the time, and not the raw, anxiety filled, angry, just MaKayla that sometimes I really am. So I think
Yeah.
the best blessing from this podcast was kind of just ripping the band-aid off my own mental health. And I guess one piece of advice that I would say to close my part is, you know, don't stuff everything down until it all explodes. Because while you can handle those explosions right now, one day they might break you. And you might send yourself into a week, 2 week, 3 week long spiral that you cannot come out of. So learn to get those things out in the moment and communicate your needs to others and yourself.
It's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Like, I think being real with people is what draws genuine connection, right? Like in the workplace, in our families, in our friendships, social media, all of it, right? Like you just said it. We all want to put on the best version of ourselves. I mean, you don't ever see anybody share on social media their worst day. You're right. It's all the good stuff. And it speaks to what we talked about earlier, in that so many people feel like they're alone. And so when we can share our struggles, our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, it reminds them, yeah, I mean, just the weight that's lifted in knowing somebody else has struggled or is struggling with the same thing is life-saving in and of itself. So it's good stuff. What about you, Angel?
Two thoughts. The hard parts for me probably is when I witness on the episodes people talking about the bad calls that I struggled with.
Hmm.
So probably the worst call in my career was attempted suicide, and he lived and was begging me to save him, and he was 16. And on top of that, I called the supervisor after and I said, I just need a little bit. Like, let me shower, let me get my truck clean. There's more blood on me than is in him now, and I'll be fine. And he said, Angel, you had trouble with a bad call a few weeks ago. Maybe this job's not for you. And I said, I got you. I got you. Let me show you. And I walked out of that job that I had never done before. And in like recent after that, I was humiliated because that is not me. I'm like dedicated to the end. So I feel like I have used that event that everybody knew about and that I felt like everybody was talking about. Fast forward to, hey, that time right there, I was not okay, but today I'm better. So, like, when you're struggling, I got you. I hear you. I'm in the same county now, not the same company, but a lot of the same people. I would like to think that they know that they can come to me. Lots of people definitely ask and like keep up to date on the podcast. And we had a really bad call. Our crew's struggling a couple of days ago that involved a teenager and a parent in a bad wreck. And I mean, I gave it a couple hours, but I texted him and was like, "Hey, well, I ran into him last night. That's what he wanted to talk about." And I was like, if he didn't know that I struggled or didn't know that I cared, that wouldn't have been the first thing that he brought up when I saw him. I think it's just a constant reminder of that.
Yeah, that's good. You said something in there. I'm at the time you were not okay, but you are now. And it reminds me that, one, we always say, it's the cliche saying, right? It's okay to not be okay. I have shifted my answer to that question. How are you doing? When I'm not okay, that's pretty much exactly what I say, is what you just said. I'm not okay right now. I will be. I'll figure this out. I'm going to be fine. Right now, I'm struggling. Right. And that in and of itself opens the door. If the person that asked the question is really willing to sit down and listen and have that conversation, then we'll have that conversation. I mean, I even do it in church, walk through the halls. Hey, how you doing? Typically the perfunctory answer is like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Right. Because you're passing in the hall and you're like, I got to get to where I'm getting. I got to get the kids picked up from the nursery, right? I'm not really going to stop and take time to have this conversation, dude. No, not for me. It doesn't matter. If you ask me how I'm doing, I'm going to be 100% authentic. Now, my level of vulnerability is going to vary based on the circumstance. Like, I'm not going to lay all that out on in the hall at a church, where I'm at. Like, oh man, I had a call last night. This is what I did. I saw blood and guts and gore. Everybody was dead. Fire burn. I'm not going to do that, right? But I will be honest and vulnerable enough to say, yeah, man, I'm not good right now. I will be, and I appreciate you asking, but I'm not good right now. And sometimes that lends towards conversations that follow up during the week. Like, hey, well, okay, I don't have time to talk about it right now. Can we get together for lunch, on Monday, Tuesday? Like, let's follow up and have a deeper conversation. So that's good stuff. Thanks for sharing that. Kev, what about you?
I've shared it so many times on the podcast, but it really is something that, even though, and I think this is a really good point as well, you look at us from a standpoint of people, and we're voices and faces on a mic and a screen. Got my little observer back there. And you look at us and you hear us talk and you hear us that we have it all together. But in reality, it's still an everyday grind, right? It's still an everyday struggle. And you have to be mindful of like, we keep pushing, we keep going, we keep learning, we keep growing. But one of the things that I really struggled with the most was my self-image for so long. And y'all have heard me say numerous times that my counselor told me to talk to myself in the mirror and say the good things, and you start to believe them. And, Dan Son's podcast, by the time this releases last week, and he and I talked about that a lot, how your brain takes the path of least resistance, and how once it figures out, oh, this is an easier way to do things, it's much easier to get on board. That does not mean that the action gets any easier. That does not mean that the self-doubt is not still there. So I still struggle with that every day. I struggle with feeling that I am enough in my situations and circumstances. I am a leader. I am a podcast host and founder, whatever title you want to put on me. And many times I find myself sitting around thinking, do I deserve that? Am I good enough to wear those titles? And some days it's hard to say yes. 7 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was, when I first reached out to Angel is unequivocally the savior of a silent war within. And they can tell you, because at one point I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's just all too much. I don't want to do it. And I had gotten really burdened and weighted down with lots of different things, and work was giving me a hard time. And I was recording in my office at one point and didn't know, after they said, hey, you can't do that anymore, and not necessarily the nicest way, I was, pretty devastated, because I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I think that as you go through the mountaintops and the valleys, every episode tends to feel like a little miniature mountaintop. Mm-hmm. But the work week and the grind and all the things that we're required to do are hard and are the valleys. But I've said this numerous times, but that's where I have grown the most. That's where you guys have come alongside me and said, hey, you are enough. You're smart. You got a great voice. You talk well. You give me all this encouragement, and it keeps me fueled. It keeps me going. So you guys are really collectively, the three of you, and our guests, right? God, I get so many compliments from our guests afterwards and connect afterwards. I had no idea that I was connected to so many people until I got sick, and really sick. And Angel put out that video saying, hey, Kevin's stepping away. He's got his health thing, whatever. So many of our guests over the last year reached out to me, and maybe it was just I'm praying for you or whatever. And in that moment of laying in a hospital bed, having people that are, in my mind now, in theirs, they're not, and they're humble. Most of them, in my mind, are very famous and followed reach out to you is like, I'm doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
And it does make you feel like enough. And it does make you feel like you can do more and you can be bigger and you can be better. But the thing that I want everybody to get from the whole spiel, right, is that it doesn't end. You just learn how to deal with what's going on. You find healing, but many times our brain goes back a step. And if you're religious, as I am, the enemy says you're not enough. You're not good enough. Look in the mirror. Look, that guy's still a fat white dude that can't jump, or all these things, and tries to bring that down. But every time I'm with you guys and with a guest and doing this, I feel at home. I feel enough.
That's good. I love it. Couple of thoughts come to mind there. Like, I'm an overweight old dude that can't jump. I've stopped calling myself fat for that same reason, like that self-worth. What I love about what you shared there is what I picked up on that when you started sharing about all the past guests and people that reached out to you when you were sick, reaffirms that this is more than a podcast. It's a community. It's a movement. This is more than just sitting down and having a conversation for an hour a week. We're building a network that is becoming a community of supporting each other, right? And being there for each other. And then I'll say this, I don't know if anybody picked up on this, and you can edit this part out if you want, but I love this. When you said that Angel single-handedly saved the podcast, I don't know if anybody else noticed this. 3 of us were shaking our head like this, and she's over there going like this. So I'll reaffirm for you, young lady, like, you are more important than what you think you are. So own that. So. I'm like, be humble, right? Like, I'm not telling you to be prideful about it, but just, it's okay to silently own your role in what you do, or humbly own that role.
Yeah, you're huge. And I've bragged on you since you came home.
And Angel she's the, she's the shit. So
she is. I'll say that she's the shit.
She's a shit. She's a shit. Sorry, I know this isn't a child-friendly space, but sorry. Yeah, she saved our butt. When Kevin had his emergency and he was in the hospital, and Angel's helping me with like the outline and all this stuff, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even have a TikTok. How am I going to find these people? I was like, how am I going to find these people? Angel was like, we got this. We'll get it scheduled. I'll reach out to the guest. I was working nights all the way up until that happened. It was crazy. Angel, you are the best. You're the shit. Okay, I'll say it with pride.
There you go.
But you
Look,
guys,
my kids make fun of me because most of the time they're like, well, what are we going to do about so-and-so? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Yep.
I'll figure it out. I have not a clue. Mason's like, don't ask Mom. She'll tell you she'll figure it out. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, that's what we do. We may not have the answer right now, but we're going to figure it out.
That's right.
I have a question for all of you in the spirit of praising people and acknowledging people. What is something that you're proud of that happened this last year in your own life? Kevin, what's something you're proud of that happened in your own life?
The Sunday school answer, if you will, is that I'm proud of the podcast. I'm proud of you guys. But in my own personal life, I think that I am more proud that I tackled something that I was too afraid to ever tackle before. And what I mean by that is, middle of this year, I was working and my mind was doing what it always does. And so to give you the backstory, to kind of tell you where I'm going with this, is when I clean my house, I'll start in the kitchen or a particular room, and I'll start cleaning, and I'll see something that needs to go to the living room, and I'll take it to the living room, and then I notice that the living room's messed up too. And then I start cleaning the living room, and I find something needs to go to the washroom. It's the same process over and over and over and over. I've been like this my whole life. I just thought I thought everybody was like this.
Wait, they're not?
No. So it started to bleed over into my work, and I couldn't get things accomplished. Like, I couldn't get policies written because I would wind up 10 yards away from where I was. and still have not completed the original task. So I was in therapy and I'm telling my counselor about this. And she said, do you think you could have ADHD? Have you ever thought about this? I said, come on now. I said, that's just people that don't spank their kids enough. And she's like, that is a very old world view, because, they have to say the right thing and the PC thing. And I was like, well, no. And she started asking me about cleaning, go in further about how you clean your house. And I was explaining all that to her. And she's like, why don't you just entertain me and come sit down and have a test? Well, that word alone makes me, even going through paramedic school and taking a big national registry test, the word test makes me uncomfortable. So, and this may not seem like much to anybody else, but it was huge to me. To walk in that office and know that I was taking a test that could possibly diagnose me as another form of broken, there was going to be something else that was all jacked up with Kev. It was very difficult for me to walk in there. So I was very proud that I walked in there and I did it. And I, if y'all are wondering, that's the only test in the last 25 years since being in kindergarten that I made a straight 100 on. You take your wins where you can get them, though. Still 100 test grade. But there was just a lot that I was able to go through during that time. And it wasn't this big, hard thing, but it was just, in my mind, I viewed it as another way Kevin is broken. And quickly I was able to go, no, you're not broken. You just got something you need help with, and that's okay. So to have that type of response to that, when formerly I would have been like, oh God, it's over. Everything's done. To have that type of response, I was really proud that I was able to handle that way and be okay with being on medication, and what a difference it made. Right. So yeah, that's my proud moment for the year. That probably sounds silly to most people, but to me, it was something I was proud of. Yeah.
Okay,
So what
Angel,
about
is your
you, Angel? What's something you're proud of? Yeah, I want to hear it.
Well, probably the smooth job change. I guess it was about a month before you reached out to me to help with the podcast. I left a fire department where I absolutely loved my crew. I had the best captain, the best lieutenant, the best fireman. I mean, it just couldn't have got any better. All our views aligned. We were all Christians. We all ate supper together. We all had the same work ethic. Like, nobody wants to clean for inspections twice a year, but it was no big deal to us because we just all jumped in and got it done. And when you're unequally yoked, even at work, it sucks so bad. But for some reason, the Lord,
I was
I
so
guess,
surprised you left.
allowed. Do what?
I was so surprised you left.
I know. The Lord made it where I was very uncomfortable. Like there was just like complaints. And like I had been there for 8 years and never got a complaint. And I got like 6 in 2 months. Like, and it was not valid complaints. And Chief would call me in there and say, "Now we know there's not anything to this, but I have to do my due diligence." And I was like, that don't even make sense. Like you've called my captain and lieutenant in here that I've worked with for 7 years. They will tell you what happened. My mental health just wasn't well. But then I had this conflict of I love where I'm at. So I jumped ship and went back to the private company that I said I never would do. And I ate those words. And it really has been well. The schedule change has been well for my family. I wouldn't have been able to help with the podcast like I do on the other schedule, honestly. Like I wouldn't have been able to keep up the one on, one off, one on, one off, one on. I just had no recovery time. I had no rest day. I mean, maybe 2 weeks later, but it wasn't enough. So that I survived that without having a mental breakdown and am better on the other side is definitely my win for the year. And of course, the podcast.
What kind of divine intervention is that?
Absolutely.
That you are back where you said you'd never go back, and had you
No,
not
he
gone
said,
back
"I'll show
there,
you."
Yeah, and that had you not gone back there, you just said it, that you wouldn't be able to pour what you pour into this podcast.
I literally have to break in here because this is such I've been on this kick for a few weeks now, and I've told everybody this that will listen to me talk, which, there are some that won't, but that's okay. God has a way of writing such a beautiful story. And Angel's heard this, but God has such a way of writing a beautiful story. 7 months ago, I was ready to quit. And I believe this. Now you can take this for what it is. On the night that I went to bed, that I thought I had made up my mind that like soon we're going to end this thing. Like I can't keep doing this. And that's how I went to bed. God gave me a dream that I was handing Angel a check with actual money on it. And I didn't know what that meant, but I woke up with the feeling in my soul, you have to call Angel. And for the first 15 minutes, I was sitting there looking at Facebook, in the morning, not being a responsible adult. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And it was just hammering on my heart. You have to call Angel. You have to call Angel. You have to call Angel. To the point where I was like, maybe something's wrong with her. Cause I've known Angel for 15, 20 years now, being in the same general EMS circles. And we've worked at a station together before. And so I reached out to her and she said, absolutely, I will help you. And she came on and does what she does. And it's been amazing and taken so much off of my plate that I can breathe and enjoy what we do. Then something you absolutely at face value do not see a way that God is behind this. I get sick, dang near die. And if it wasn't,
You scared us.
if it wasn't for that, Jason doesn't reach out to the podcast to help. He doesn't become a member of the team. It doesn't become a possibility for that dream for Angel to actually get paid because of a founding sponsorship that we're discussing. None of that happens. So like the beautiful story and the novel that's being written right now between the four of us, whether any of that transpires at all, the fact that we're all sitting here in a chair today after just a year of work is such an inspiring story in and of itself. Like MaKayla was just a guest on the podcast. Kim had to vamp out cause of life, and MaKayla stepped up without any reservation. I am amazed to sit back and watch what God is doing with the four of us and placing us in strategic locations and allowing things to happen for certain reasons. And never has it been so evident that we are doing something that, whether you're religious or not, we have a higher power that is pushing this initiative forward, or it wouldn't all continue to work out.
And to that point, I never really thought about that till you said this. Man, that's when the devil ups his game.
Absolutely.
So like on a personal level, like because we're all believers and Christ followers, like it just echoes the importance of staying connected
Mm-hmm.
That's
to
what
our
I told
God.
Kevin when he was so down in the beginning. I said, of course he's trying to make you sit down and be quiet because you're doing things. Your word is going places. That's what he doesn't want to happen. Lay down and rest. We'll take it from here. You'll be back in a minute. It's okay.
Yeah, the devil does not attack the complacent.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's good.
That's true. Oh, that's good. And then to round it out for my own question, I think that I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud that this last year I was never a good communicator. Not speaking to people, like that wasn't the problem, but like communicating my true feelings, because I'm just a blower upper. You set me off and I snap at you and then I sulk and then whatever.
No, I've
Never,
never
Kevin.
experienced that. I've
Never.
never experienced that.
Never. This year, I did not pray for patience, because I know if you pray for patience, God will give you. No, I refuse to pray
No,
for that.
that's off of
I
my
said,
vocabulary.
God, help me to not blow up at the small things and communicate my needs in a way that can be heard. And I will tell you, my relationship with my husband is better than I've ever had, just because of the way that I have learned to talk to him and get my thoughts and my needs across. And I'm really proud of that, because even
You should
he's
be.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're way better than you used to be. So I think that is a growth point that I'm really proud of.
That's good.
That's
So
cool.
my least favorite part of the show, as we start to move toward the close, what do you guys see for the year ahead? What's some things you'd like to see happen? What's some guests you'd like to have on? What's the expectation moving forward?
Why is it the least favorite part?
Because I always hate closing a good show. I always do. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it. I would rather, me and Jason round table closing with Mike. Yeah, we
We
round
said
table
goodbye.
closing
Like
that one.
that whole
It was
closing probably took 30 minutes. It was like,
it
wait a
was-
minute, I thought we were wrapping this up. And
it
then
was a
he would drop
true-
another nugget, or I would drop a nugget. We're like,
Yeah.
hey man,
Oh,
we're going
yeah.
down rabbit holes.
So good.
It was
yeah,
amazing.
it was great.
It was amazing.
But we truly had a Southern goodbye where you say goodbye in the restaurant and then you stay outside in the parking lot for an hour and a half. Yeah. But yeah, what are some things you guys are thinking and looking forward to for the coming year? What's the expectation?
I think that we really, what's the firefighter that's friends with the firefighter Fenton? What's the one with the bald guy?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Jason.
Jason.
No.
We
It is.
have
It's
to get him
Jason.
on the show.
Fire
Would be-
department coffee.
Mm-hmm.
That is my dream
Yeah,
guest.
yeah.
I love
Okay,
him.
I'll work
I
on
know
that.
he's really busy. I think firefighter Fenton even said he's really busy, but
He is. He's a hard guy to get in touch with.
But let me tell you, he is so funny, and I find his content really inspirational and just puts a lighthearted mood on all the crap in healthcare that really gets pushed off on us. And I just love him. And I think the worst moment or part of the show is my technical difficulties. I'm a 90-year-old in a 30-year-old body. Me and technology don't jive. So I'm just endearing it at this point. At this point, my technological difficulties are just part of who I am, and I'll strive to get better. But that's my take of that.
We just need to bump up your Wi-Fi speed or your internet speed.
Yeah, I know. She's always so pixelated. Thankfully, Riverside, and they don't sponsor us. They can. Riverside, if you're listening to this, we love your product. Riverside records the video onto her computer and then uploads it. So what she's seeing of herself is not pixelated and always comes through great. So what about you, Jason? I'm interested to hear.
Well, when you prepped us for that question, I had 3 in mind. Jason was one of them. I actually met him at
I did too,
FDIC
EMS World.
several years ago. It's phenomenal,
Yeah.
dude. I'd love to have him on the show. The other one is Travis House. Travis, if you're listening, somebody tag
Let
him.
me tell you,
Let's bring that guy
I
on.
stood in this very long line.
She met him.
I was like, I don't want a signature. Please please be our guest. And he said, sorry, we don't do no podcast. And I was like, well, I still love you anyway. Now you have to take a picture with me.
Yeah.
Have you heard him in person?
I have not heard him in person. I
you have
follow
to
him
make
pretty
it
religious. It's I'm gonna have to go
have to.
travel. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go travel to see him. I've actually tried within our local here in the St. Louis metro region. I've been trying to get them to sponsor him and bring him in here for the
Yes.
St. Louis area, and it's
He
just not
would
been
do that.
effective yet.
He does like 6 or 8 big events a year.
Yeah.
But he said he just don't have time because it would be a million podcasts. I get it, but I tried.
I don't want him to do a million. I just want him to do ours.
I know.
Yeah, this is another far reach, but I've got big dreams. We've talked briefly, like we're over the next couple months. I know of at least one veteran that we're bringing on that's not necessarily a first responder, but has a passion for the first responder community. And he has expressed to me that even as a veteran, he has more respect for firefighters, EMS, police than we probably have coming, reciprocally back towards him. And I'm really looking forward to that episode. But as we maybe not even expand into the veteran community, there's a lot of crossover
Absolutely
in the first responder community and the veteran community in the struggle of mental health and the challenges that we face. So I'd like to see us tap into some of that and be a support for our veteran community as well. That's one of the goals I have and like to see. And when I talk about dreaming big, you said the name earlier. Man, how cool would it be to have Sean Ryan on the show? Why not? Right? Like, why
absolutely.
not? I mean, it's.
Do we have to give him a gun, or is he going to give us a gun?
I'll give him one of my guns if that's what he wants.
I mean, that's what it's.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll throw a bottle of bourbon in. I'm looking at my bourbon chest. I'm like, yeah, I'll
Yeah, I
give him a
know.
bottle of. I'll give him a
Well,
nice bottle of
We're
bourbon if
shooting for
that's what.
stars on that one.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Listeners on
Hey,
that
but
one.
that's
yeah.
what you do. That's what you do.
Yep.
You prepare for
I
rain.
never thought Nurse Gwenny would have agreed.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
If
I
Sean or
think
Ryan said yes, I would poop myself. Just so you know.
So for all you listeners and viewers, you need to get in there and start tagging him. Like, how many hundreds of tags can we get for Sean Ryan?
Yeah, that's
Just
a
Take out
so,
the tag,
that's
please.
that,
so we
that's a
can
clip.
see MaKayla poop herself.
Yeah, that's a goal there, really. I mean, but I think that when you talk about goals, certainly I have dream guests, and I've been working behind the scenes on one of them for about a year, and she's recently gone through a divorce and lots of things happening. So I don't know if by the time this gets out that she would even be a good fit. But Jen Hamilton is one of my absolute
Oh, yeah.
favorite
Yes.
creators, and
She's a nurse.
she's a nurse. Also,
she loves her patients.
and also, I know this is going to be one of those that is like, oh, this guy's name gets dropped again. Dr. Mike, he has a huge podcast, and he's one of those lofty, like, shoot for the stars kind of guests. Like, he just interviewed Noah Wiley from The Pit, the ER doctor, Noah Wiley.
Oh, yeah.
But he's an actual real doctor. Like, he started just like we started in a bedroom, just taping what his thoughts were. And then Jefferson Fisher. Jefferson Fisher is a lawyer who has nothing to do with first responders in reality or healthcare. He's represented numerous. I've learned so much from him. That's why he's one of my coveted guests that I want, is that he teaches about communication. And he's got a short podcast that 15 to 30 minutes every time. But he's just taught me so much about communication and communication styles. And I think he would be so good to share that information.
Hey, really, I'm not co-host material like y'all are.
That's a lie.
That's a
Okay,
lie.
wait. Okay, well, it goes okay. But I feel like I'm most helpful doing what I do behind the scenes. But I think that it would help if they just see my face more often, the people around here, that reassures them. I guess it's kind of brought to the forefront because everybody's like, what's Kevin doing? Or how's Kevin? Or what's Kevin up to now? Or, so it's made me realize they see him. So they know that he's out there in the thick of it with us. So me just being more present, and I really want to work on things like in person. Like we're going to the conference in October, you know, making that booze happen and making us be, you know, make those connections in person so that they're not hesitating to reach out on the bad days.
No,
And we've
I'm,
got our merch now. That is
yeah.
a good
So
plug for that.
that is a good.
I
Yeah.
bought
That
a
is a.
t-shirt.
I think that is a good spot to kind of transition into to the true end and say that we have got a lot of exciting things happening. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I think I have. We are hosting our own conference. Hopefully Jason can be with us. I know MaKayla, it's not possible for her to jump on a jet and fly from Maine down here, but on September 12th, we're doing a local area first responder conference for, the North Mississippi area. I've had meetings with all the mayors this week. I've got a meeting on Monday with another mayor in person. And they're all behind us. We've received such phenomenal support just over the past week as I plan for this and get this all booted down. Kristen McLaughlin, who I had on the show as tactical, she's Tactical Tinkerbell. She is coming to be our guest speaker. We're having businesses donate door prizes, and we've already gotten some of those. The fact that I called our town mayor and he says, "Oh, I know you. I see your stuff on social media." I'm like, okay, maybe
That's sweet.
maybe this is something. Like maybe if he's seeing us, that means a bunch more people are seeing us too. But really, as exciting as that is, I don't ever want to be the guy that gets caught up on we do this just for the numbers. I want to do this because we believe in the mission and we believe that this matters and this is important. But we do have huge, exciting things coming. We have conferences that we are going to, conference that we're hosting. We have merch available on our website. Go check that out. Shameless plug there for that. But just so much happening. Like this is really, really honestly going somewhere. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't think that all these 60 episodes have been for naught. So I really, and I know they haven't, because we get those messages of people that we've helped. And I love to get those messages. And as you guys listen to this and we really start to wind down, the one thing I want you to hear is that we do this not for fame, not for fortune, but we do this because we genuinely care. And we don't want you to be alone. And we don't want you to feel the isolation that I once felt and that these folks unequivocally likely have felt at some point in their life. And, we want to be a type of support for you. Obviously we encourage going to seek professional help, but there's something to be said about somebody who knows the struggle, who knows the grind, who knows what's going on and has lived it to share their story. One of the most powerful parts of the conference will be that we have a group of city and community leaders that will sit on a stage and share their experiences from a perspective of leadership and go, I've dealt with it too. And it makes people feel so validated. It really does. So I'm excited for what the next year holds. I'm excited for you guys. Any closing words from any of you guys that you want to
Yes.
impart?
I was keeping my lips sealed the whole time you were talking. I just had a mental thought. We need business cards with QR codes. And
We have it.
we have them?
Yeah, I mean, I have one, but you can copy the QR code onto anything, and it goes right to the.
We need to get some business cards with QR codes. That'll be our goal for this year, and hand them out. If, we go like we work at a first responder place, hand them out at work, hand them out at whatever. So, and it'll have a link to our merch and to our website and our podcast. I love
And
that.
Angel took care of.
I want one.
I had to mail you some stickers.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Also, shoot, I had a brain fart. I had a really good, just for
Lord.
historical, you have to live with it, Kevin. I'm so sorry. Just for historical knowledge, because I don't have TikTok. Can you look on your TikTok or on your YouTube and tell, just for historical, we can look back at this and see how many followers we had at this moment. How many followers do we have as of, well, today is really July the 24th at 7:24 p.m. That's not when this episode will go, but
So TikTok 3,556. Give me 1 second.
While you look that up, I'll throw out this. I had an idea Kevin, while you were talking there about the conferences. How cool would it be to make a conference, whether it's the one you're putting together or different conferences, FDIC, something like that, where it's a major conference, where we do almost like a booth, where the booth is interviews. Just spot like tailboard interviews
that's
where we're
cool.
like, hey, you wanna come on the show? We'll just do a 15-minute, like you want to sit down and have a conversation, or it's just us bantering back and forth, having a conversation, or whether that's live or pre-recorded. I don't know what that would look like. You can go like TikTok live or something
that's
at
cool.
one of those conferences with some interviews. Would be kind of cool.
Here's another thing. Y'all know, like, it's not about the money, but the money would help us be in more places. The biggest money maker on TikTok is to go live.
Yeah. And
I've done
it a few times and it's like, oh, this is so uncomfortable.
It is. It's wild. I've done it twice with my Note from Dad page, and it is awkward. You almost have to have, for lack of better terms, your own script, or at least a blueprint for what you're going to talk about when nobody's engaging, just to kind of drive that engagement. I have yet to sit in on one of the Passionate Leader. JP does that every Sunday at,
I know. I keep saying I'm going to jump on and I forget it.
and I have yet to do it, just to kind of see what his format is, but he's consistent with it every Sunday. So yeah, I think that I agree. I think that'd be that could be a good trial run.
So to continue with the numbers, 867 followers on Facebook and
915 on Instagram.
Beautiful.
So let's make a goal. Let's try to get by next year when we're doing this episode, let's try to get 20,000 followers. And if
There you
we
go. What
don't,
was
we
the
don't, but 20,000 total.
what was the YouTube? That's what I wanted in.
It's low. YouTube just doesn't.
You know, it's grown though after Motivated with Coach Camp.
Yeah,
It has a lot.
169.
Yeah. It took me forever to get to 1,000 on YouTube.
Yeah.
Where we're going to be next year is going to blow our mind. I'm so excited. Well, I'm really excited about the things that we have moving forward. Just so you guys know, I've already bought my t-shirt because I'm so excited, but we have merch. We have Angel Mike can speak more to all that we have. We have some t-shirts, some towels. What else do we have?
Blanket. There is a blanket that I am saving up for. Yes.
Stickers?
And
We got
then-
stickers?
Well, we're
Stickers?
working on the stickers.
All right.
They're in motion. I've got an order put in, getting some quotes. I really wanted to do it from somebody local to help a small business. So that takes a little time. And then there's the form on the website. If you're interested in being a guest, you have a story to tell, we want to hear it. If we could just do like a mini session, if it's not an hour long, we want everybody to be heard.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
that's and all the connections are on the website.
And do you do TikTok, Jason?
Yeah, that's where I blew
I'm
up.
the only one that
Surprising.
does it.
No.
I don't do TikTok. I'm scared. I think
Just
I have
do
an
it.
addictive
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah, me too.
So
too.
not the booze, that's not the problem. But if I get to scrolling,
Yeah.
I'm done for. I'll do it
Yeah.
till 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't stop. So on the Facebook Reels, when I see that thing come across, it's like watch the Reels. I have to keep scrolling, or I will be there for hours getting
Yeah.
nothing done.
Yeah, I've found myself very same. Like I'll scroll through the reels on Facebook for a long time and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then I close that reel and then it puts the banner that goes for the next set of reels, it's put in your eye. I'm like, oh, well, that one looks all right. Let's click on that. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Right back into it. It's so addictive. It's so addicting.
It is
Doom
addicting.
scrolling.
Yes. But
I was
one
gonna
thing that
say
is kinda
go ahead.
cool. Everybody has a voice, and it's so cool that it's like Facebook, TikTok, everyone's making content. So it is cool that we have our own little slice and something that's unique to us. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about, goals or next steps for the movement. I love that we got the merch out now. I think if there's one thing I would want to see as an end user, let's put more than just the logo on there, like some quote on the back, like, hey, it's okay to not be okay. I don't know. I use that one as the example because we all know it. But I
You're
don't
not
know.
alone. That might be a
Even
good
if we went back through some of our episodes and pulled the nuggets, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
that's a good idea.
Those
Yep.
one-liner truth bombs, and you're like, bam, that's it. Let's put that on the
Yes.
shirt.
I'm gonna start a list when I find those, like when I was texting y'all the other day, to refer
Yeah.
back to. Like
Yeah.
rock bottom is a firm foundation.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
All
I think I
right.
used that in my episode, funny enough.
You did.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's very good.
All right, Kevin.
Yep.
Let's wrap this country goodbye up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. All right. So for all you guys listening, this has been a really fun episode. I love sitting around talking to these people. Obviously, we could sit here and have a business meeting for the next 100 years. We'll do that off camera soon. But you guys know where to find us. We're on all the social media platforms. We've got merch available. Go buy your shirts, your blankets, your hats, all the things. We had a lot of fun making those and getting that store launched. It was work, but it was also a lot of fun to design a shirt and see something that you love and you care about actually pasted onto a shirt. Was pretty cool. And so it was rewarding as well. We've got a conference coming up, Olive Branch, Mississippi. We've partnered with Church of the Harvest and Olive Branch there to bring you a conference called Rescuing the Rescuer. That will be a mental health and faith focused conference that we'll have. It's a one-day conference. If you would like more information on that, you can check out our website. That will be added very, very soon once we get a few more, what's the word I'm looking for? A few more commitments from different people that we're waiting on. But once that happens, August 1st, all the details will be up on our site. But really, I could sit here and walk through all the things that we have out there, but really the hub of all that information, as I say every show, is asilentwarwithin.com. I really put a lot of effort into keeping our website looking fresh and adding blogs and things that I do. Go over and check them out. Jason's got 5 Arrows Forge, which is his coaching group that you can check out. He does a note from dad as well. You see his insignia right there on his shirt. He's repping today, so I love that. He's an awesome content creator as well as a coach, and focuses a lot of his time not just on mental health, but on fatherhood and family and what we're supposed to look like as men. And he's poured into my life a lot just off of his little gold nuggets that he gives. And again, that's the reason that his episode is my favorite. So go check us out. Go do all the things, click all the buttons. We love for you guys to tell Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube that this is good content. So if you just rate us, leave a comment, make sure that they know that you support what we're doing so that they continue to push us out. Well, guys, it's been a year and it's going to be another good year. And I've got all of you on board. Thank you for pouring into me. Thank you for believing in a vision that I had a year ago. And thank you for helping me grow it into what it is today. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate all of you and the effort that you put in. So, MaKayla, it's your time. Hit them with the 1-900 voice. We've missed it. The last couple episodes Jason and I have done. Yeah, I said it the other day. Is this where
we start breathing heavy into the microphone while she's doing it?
Yeah.
She's primed up.
Yeah, I said it the other day. I said, nobody likes a sausage party. We need you on, MaKayla. We have missed you. So go ahead and hit them with the outro that you do so well. It's your time to shine.
Be safe. Take care of your mind, and we will talk soon.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
You've been listening to A Silent War Within. If this episode resonated, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, you're not alone and your well-being matters. It's time to end this silent war.